Welcome back to Yankee Stadium and the 55th annual Old Timers Day, and now to MC the ceremonies. And for those much awaited introductions, we go to Bob Shepard.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Yankee Stadium and the 55th annual Old Timers Day. Please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate and join the Yankees in welcoming our two MCs, the renowned radio voices of the New York Yankees, John Sterling and Michael Kay.
Thank you, Bob. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the 55th annual Old Timers Day ceremonies. For, by the way, the granddaddy of all these ceremonies. For 55 years, we've been honoring those heroes who've made immeasurable contributions to not only the New York Yankees, but to the game of baseball. You know, there's something magical, even mythological, about the New York Yankees and the men who've been lucky enough to wear the pinstripes. Many of them are baseball legends, winning world championships, MVP awards, and countless other honors. Several of the greatest moments in baseball history happened right here on this sacred field as the Yankees have gone on to win 26 world championships. And now, here's my Yankee compadre, Michael Kay.
Thank you, everybody. Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium. Does it get better than this? And the best part about it is that the team right now has won 4 out of 5 world championships, so we know we have some good Old Timers Days in the future as well. And by the way, in case you didn't check the newspaper today and you look at the top of the American League East standings, the 2001 Yankees, they're in first place as well. Old Timers Day acknowledges the accomplishments and preserves the memory of those immortalized in the hallowed grounds and sacred walls of this great institution we know as Yankee Stadium. On this Old Timers Day, we brought home some of the baseball players you know and love who have helped keep the Yankee tradition alive, a tradition that continued into the new millennium. Now let's meet some of the men who helped earn the Yankees 26 world championships, making them the most successful franchise in the history of professional sports.
Well, we kick it off with a left-hand hitting outfielder who was an integral part of the 1978 World Championship teams. He played for many teams in his 20 years in the major leagues, and with all those years and all those teams, he won 4 championships. And he also was my broadcast partner in my first year in 1989 and lived to tell about it. One of the good guys. Say hello to Jay Johnstone.
This next Yankee was a feisty singles hitter, a tough, aggressive player who just plain loved being a Yankee. He played a key role in the 1964 World Series, playing shortstop in every game. A utility infielder who delivered when he was called upon. Also played a pretty good harmonica. Please welcome Phil Linz.
This next Yankee won 14 games in the regular season. Then he was 2-0 in the World Series as the Yankees captured the 1977 World Championship. Here is right-hander Mike Torres.
This next Yankee spent 11 years in the majors, and his two best, well, they were with the Yankees. In 1974, he hit .303 with 26 doubles. He was a top-notch center fielder with a great arm and great speed. Also a native of East Orange, New Jersey, let's meet and greet Elliot Maddox.
Our next guest was a member of the championship team in 1978. He had to fill in the World Series for the great second baseman of the Yanks who was injured, Willie Randolph. And boy, did he fill in. He hit .438 in that World Series, helping the Yankees win another championship. Here is Brian Doyle.
This next Yankee was known throughout his career for two things: being an outstanding center fielder and for his postseason heroics. In Game 1 of the 1977 World Series, his 12th inning single brought home the winning run. And in the 1978 Fall Classic, he batted .375. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice hand for Paul Blair.
You know, nowadays, if you're a pitcher and your ERA is under 4, you're having a tremendous year. Well, this right-hander won 17 games in his rookie season, and his earned run average was 2.06. It made him Rookie of the Year in 1968. He then went on to win 14 games in each of his next 2 seasons as a Yankee. Welcome, the Bonson Burner, Stan Bonson.
Well, it's not often that the Yankees get the first selection in the annual June draft, but they did in 1967, and our next guest, well, he was their choice. In 1973, he became the first ever designated hitter against the Boston Red Sox. He will always have a place in baseball history, and he's one of the good guys that ever played the game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ron Blomberg.
This next left-hand hitting first baseman played so well against the Yankees that they went out and acquired him. He was a good lefty hitter and a tremendous defensive first baseman. In fact, he won 2 Gold Gloves. Always popular with the team and the fans, Jim Spencer.
Well, the Yankees have always had outstanding third basemen, and our next guest, well, no exception. He had fine, good seasons at the hot corner for the Bombers. In 1987, he belted a career-high 32 home runs with 87 RBIs. He had a great work ethic, a great guy in the clubhouse. Please welcome back, Pags, Mike Pagliarulo.
This catcher from the New York area, from New Jersey, from Seton Hall, had the unenviable task of filling in for the great Thurman Munson. And boy, did he meet the challenge. He hit .277 and 14 homers and 85 RBIs to lead the Yanks to the American League East title in 1980. He's done everything in baseball. Great catcher, broadcaster, and now an owner. Yeah, he's the owner of the Newark Bears, Rick Cerrone.
Bittersweet times when Rick came up.
Our next Yankee pitched a shutout in his first Major League start. He was a 21-game winner in 1963 and helped lead the Yankees to successive pennants in 1963 and 1964. And in 1962, he was the winning pitcher in the longest game in Yankees history. 22 innings, 7 hours. I guess you could say it was unmanageable. Welcome back, the Bulldog, Jim Bouton.
Back in good favor now after his controversial ball 4.
Was a steady second baseman for the Yankees who had a habit of breaking up no-hitters. He broke up 3. He'll always remember his first home run in the major leagues because it was a grand slam. Say hello to the quiet man, Horace Clarke.
This native New Yorker and former All-Star played for the Yankees in 1982. He spent 3 years managing the Yankees minor league system, and he guided the Norwich Navigators to the finals of the Eastern League playoffs in 1999. He now shares his knowledge with the current Yankee team as the team's first base coach. Please welcome Lee Mazzilli.
Eddie, where you
Every
at?
team who's going to contend for a pennant and a World Series
Maz, you got to get 2 hits
is off
today.
the bench. And in the late 70s, this was a great hitter off the bench. For example, one year, he hit 20 home runs and only 380 at-bats. He became the 3rd Yankee to hit 2 homers in the same inning, the 14th Yankee to hit 3 homers in a game. A member of the 1977 World Championship team, here is Cliff Johnson.
Kitty, he was as good a pinch hitter as you would ever see. In fact, I think he holds the record for pinch hit home runs.
Well, this next old-timer also played 3 years in pinstripes, but what a 3 years. Really one of the first setup men. He compiled a record of 27 wins against 10 defeats, and he had an ERA of 2.93 in his Yankee days. In 1979, well, he was 14-2. Pretty good pitcher. Let us greet Ron Davis.
Never forget his early games. I was on that team coming into bases loaded situations.
In
against those Brewers who were good
1975,
then.
this next right-hander was
successful.
traded to the Yankees and made an immediate impact. He helped lead the Yanks to their return to American League domination. He won 19 games in 76, 16 in 1977, and 20 in 78 in those championship years, making him one of the more valuable members of the team. He stopped losing streaks. That's why he was known as Senior Stopper Ed Figueroa.
Figueroa was a minor league teammate of mine in my first professional season in Winter Haven. I reminded him of that before the game, and boy, that goes back
Well, this
a long way.
gentleman spent 7 seasons as a Yankee shortstop. Clutch hitter with an understanding of the game. He played, he coached, he managed, and he served as general manager, and he's one of the molding forces behind the championship teams of 96, 98, 99, and 2000. He remains at the Yankee organization as Vice President of Major League Scouting. One of the great baseball minds in the game today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Stick, Gene Michael.
Not much he hasn't done in the Yankee organization. It's still very valuable.
I think it's underrated what his scouting staff does for the
Our
Yankees in the
next guest
postseason. They've been very
Came
successful
to the Yanks
because
from
of
the
that staff.
Indians and then played on the 76 pennant-winning team. Was traded away, but returned to win 2 more pennants with the Yanks. He had a 17-year career in the major leagues, a very good left-hand hitting outfielder. Please welcome Oscar Gamble.
Oscar always liked to brag about his ratio. He didn't get too many at-bats, but if he got 200 at-bats, he'd get 20 home runs.
This next outfielder, well, he was quick. And when the Yankees acquired him in 1976, he became a vital part of the 3 straight pennant winners. He played on the 77 and 78 championship teams, and as a top leadoff man, he could always be counted on to steal a base or move the runner. That's why he was known as Mick the Quick. Ladies and gentlemen, Mickey Rivers.
Michael Kay did mention the fact that he took a home run from me in Baltimore, reached over the fence and pulled it back into the park. You have a tendency to remember the outfielders that
You know and love this next Yankee, a kid from the sandlots of Brooklyn, New York, who starred for the Yanks, a tremendous left-hand hitting first baseman and one of the best fielding first basemen in baseball history. He won 3 Gold Gloves. He's a member of the Yankees still today. Say hello to Joe Pepitone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this next old-timer is going to make you feel old. At the age of 19, he became the youngest player ever to be named Rookie of the Year. That same year, he became the youngest player to ever play in an All-Star game. he again displayed his dominance in '85 when he became the youngest Cy Young Award winner in history, capturing pitchers' tripling crown by recording a league-leading 24-4 record at a 1.53 ERA and 268 strikeouts. And in 1996, he pitched the 9th no-hitter in Yankee history and was instrumental in the '96 and 2000 championship runs. I can't believe he's an old-timer. Ladies and gentlemen, the Doc, Dwight Gooden.
It was amazing how he developed over the years and changed his style so he continued to pitch at the major league level and went from a flamethrower to a pitcher who had to clip the corners to be
Yankee
successful.
Player from Brooklyn. The Yankees traded for him from Pittsburgh after his rookie year, and boy, it was one of the best trades the Yankees ever made. He played on 4 pennant winners. He was a 6-time All-Star, and for the last decade, he's helped the Yankees win 4 more championships as their third base coach. One of the best, the Willie Randolph.
Kenny, if the Pirates did not have a second baseman named Rennie Stennett, Willie Randolph may never have been a Yankee.
Well, our next guest had 2 tours of duty with the Yankees. Both times he provided solid hitting and Gold Glove defense. His finest season, well, it came in 1972. He hit 33 home runs, drove in 96 runs, and played a great center field. And now he's a Yankee broadcaster. Please welcome one of the good guys, Bobby Mercer.
Wait till I go, Scooter. Let's wait. Yeah.
Be careful, Bobby.
No problem, Kenny. No problem. What do you say, quick?
This next
How you
pitcher,
doing, man?
a closer,
Think you should
the
have
definitive closer, belongs in the Hall of Fame. The Yankees have had great closers down through the years, like Joe Page and Louis Arroyo, and many others too numerous to mention. Now, of course, they have the best in the world, Mariano Rivera. Before Mariano, this fella had 151 saves for the Yankees. He is the Goose Gossage.
As the committee gives more consideration in the future to short relievers beyond Raleigh Fingers, you're going to see Bruce Sutter, Goose Gossage in the Hall of Fame where they belong.
He had a Hall of Fame fastball. I can attest to that.
In each of his first 7 seasons in New York, he had at least 20 home runs. In fact, he captured the American League home run title in 1976, and in his career, he had more home runs than any third baseman in the history of baseball. Also, one of the best defensive third basemen in the history of baseball. And in 1978, he turned the World Series around with one of the most spectacular defensive performances in series history. Let's welcome Greg Nettles.
Kenny, Greg broke in with the Minnesota Twins. In fact, I was his landlord for about 30 days, and the Twins dumped him. They said, "We don't think you'll ever be able to play
Now,
third base."
ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to rise at this time. As we pause for a moment of silence in honor of the memories of those members of the Yankee family that we have lost since last Old Timers Day. Kurt Blefary, Giulio Constibile, Wally Hood, Mickey Mantle Jr., Bob Olin, Aurelio Rodriguez, Stanley Skripek, Ed Weaver, Butch Wentzloff, Bernabe Williams Sr., Gene Woodling. Now please be seated.
Our next guest, because of one special game, is one of the most honored names in the history of the New York Yankees. He came in a trade from Baltimore. He pitched in 4 World Series. He won 3 of those World Series and had an earned run average of 2.67, but that's not the story. No, let's go back to October 8th, 1956. He turned in one of the greatest pitching performances ever in the history of baseball. He pitched a perfect game against the Brooklyn Dodgers in Game 5 to turn the series around. Don Larsen.
This next Yankee legend proudly wore pinstripes for 12 seasons, and he played on 9 pennant winners, 7 world championship teams, including the record-setting 5 consecutive title winners. He's constantly honored as baseball circles as a good guy, but don't tell that to opposing World Series pitchers. He holds the record for hitting safely in 17 consecutive World Series games, and the 1958 Fall Classic, he hit .323, driving in 8 runs. We call him the Old Marine. Let's welcome Hank Bauer.
As we meet all of these past Yankee greats today, we'd like to pay tribute to one of the greatest teams ever to play the game of baseball. 2001 marks the 40th anniversary of that team. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to introduce you to many of the legends who are part of the great World Championship 1961 Yankees team. And let's begin with the manager. He had the difficult task of replacing the legendary Casey Stengel, but he responded by becoming the first man in baseball history to win World Series titles in his first 2 seasons as manager. Here's one of the best, the Major, Ralph Houck.
Major looks good, enjoying a retired life down in Florida. I think he gets out on the golf course occasionally, yeah.
Our next guest made 25 starts for the Yankees in 1961, and he posted the American League's second-best ERA, a 2.68 mark. Also had 14 wins. He was the starter in Game 3 of the 1961 World Series at Yankee Stadium. Let's greet Bill Stafford.
This right-hander was a versatile member of Ralph Houck's staff. He's kind of the Ramiro Mendoza of his day. He went 11-5 in 11 starts and also had 32 relief appearances. He combined with Whitey Ford to blank the Reds 7-0 in Game 4 of the '61 World Series. His career winning percentage with 5 seasons with the Yanks is a remarkable .712. Let's welcome back Jim Coates.
Well, this next Yankee was a valuable member of the 5 straight pennant winners from 1960 to 1964. In 1961, he platooned in left field, helped the Yankees close out the Reds with 2 homers and 7 RBIs in the final 2 games of the World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Hector Lopez.
Kenny, I broke in against this team, and Hector Lopez was one of those hitters when that fence was 344 to right, where the low wall was a perfect
On
Yankee
September
Stadium
1st,
hitter.
1961,
.345,
the Yankees called up a young shortstop from their AAA team in Richmond. He went on to play a key role in the team's dominance. In 1962, he was Rookie of the Year, despite splitting the year between shortstop and left field. His 3-run home run won the key 5th game in the 1962 World Series. Here is Tom Tresh.
Well, it takes a special talent to sit on the bench for most of a game, then be called upon and produce. Our next Yankee made a living out of doing just that. In fact, 40% of his major league at-bats were in clinch hit appearances. Let's welcome Bob Hale.
Every championship team needs a great utility infielder to come in and get the job done. You know, like Luis Sojo. This next guy did just that. He had a tremendous World Series in 1960. Say hello to Joe DeMaestri.
Had his bubblegum card when he was a member of the old Philadelphia Athletics.
This next Yankee was so tough. How tough was he? Well, in 1958, he played an entire month with a broken jaw. He was a two-time Yankee whose second tour of duty came via trade from the Angels in May of 1961. He played outfield and first base for the 1961 team. Let's welcome Bob Serve.
When the Yankees reacquired Bob Serve in the early 60s, our next guest came over in that deal and became a significant fixture in the Yankees bullpen that year by appearing in 21 games and suffering only one loss, a very good right-hand reliever, Tex Clevenger.
Kenny, we talked about getting older, and when I look at Tex Clevenger, it's kind of like the old Tampa Bay coach Bill Fisher. We were all teammates.
Here's another
with the
valuable
Washington
member of the
Senators.
61 team, whether behind the plate or off the bench. A member of the catching trio who combined for more than 60 home runs that year. He belted 21 homers in 1961 in only 100 at-bats, and he slammed 4 homers in 4 straight games. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice hand for Johnny Blanchard.
Well, here is a terrific right-hand hitting first baseman of so many Yankee pennant-winning and world championship teams. In fact, he was on 7 championship teams. Remember the final game of the 1956 World Series? Series tied at 3 games apiece. It was played in Brooklyn. Well, this fella hit a grand slam home run. In the 1961 World Series, he hit .353 with a homer and 5 RBIs. And one more thing, when he came up to bat, you knew it because of the fans' special salute. Everyone together, Moose Skowron.
Well, when the Yankees purchased the contract of our next guest in July of 1960, few took notice, but that changed quickly as he went 5-1 with 7 saves down the stretch. A year later, in 1961, he put together one of the most memorable seasons ever by a Yankee reliever. He saved 29 games for the world champs in 1961, and he won 15 games and a spot in the All-Star game. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis Arroyo.
Louis had that screwball that he
Combined with Whitey Ford for a lot of wins.
Yes,
You know,
he
Michael,
did. Whitey had a great year that year.
when
and Louis
introducing
saved
Greg
quite a few of
Nettles,
his games.
called him, and properly so, one of the best defensive third basemen in history. Well, here's another one from a decade before, a third baseman for so many terrific Yankee teams. In fact, his outstanding defensive performance in the 1961 World Series is still remembered today. He's been a coach, a minor league manager, and always a fan favorite. Say hello to Cleet Boyer.
Cleet used to bat 8th on that Yankee ball club.
Oh, well, I know.
Oh, he had some power, too, down there at the bottom of the order.
Well, this next Yankee is one of the most recognizable men on the planet. He first came up with the Yankees in 1946. Here's some things that we should say about him. 3-time league MVP, an all-star, 15 consecutive years, a 10-time world champion. After his playing days, he managed the Yankees to another pennant. One of the great players of all time, one of the great Yankees ever, a Hall of Famer, ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra.
call Yogi a bad ball hitter. Yogi said they weren't bad if I could hit them, if I could reach them.
Get ready to applaud again. This next Hall of Famer had a great 1961 year. He was 25-4. His ERA 3.21. He won the AL Cy Young. In the 61 series, he was 2-0. You know what his ERA was? 0.00. He holds the Yankee record for wins, strikeouts, ERA, shutouts, the ace of the staff on 6 World Championship teams. You know he is the chairman of the board, Edward Charles Whitey Ford.
Whitey's going to do some hitting, it looks like.
25-4.
It's when the Yankees went to a 4-day rotation that year.
That month of June in 1961, Whitey Ford made 8 starts. He won them all. He just happened to start on June the 1st, so he got a chance to start 8 times and won every one of those games in 1961. June was busted out
Ladies
all
and
over that
gentlemen,
year for Whitey
at this
Ford.
time, we'd like to honor a man who was a member of the 1961 Yankees, but is no longer with us. He was the first ever African-American to play for the New York Yankees. He was selected to 9 straight All-Star teams. In 1955, he homered in his first World Series at-bat. In 1961, he was voted the St. Louis Baseball Man of the Year, while leading his team to one of the greatest seasons in baseball history. In 1963, he was selected as the American League MVP. He was a 9-time pennant winner and 4-time World Series champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we remember Elston Howard.
Well, our next guests have a very significant tie to the 1961 Yankees. During that magical season, there were 2 men chasing history. Babe Ruth's home run record of 60 home runs was being challenged by 2 future legends who were both Yankees. Of course, the 2 men were Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. Between them, that season, they hit 115 home runs. However, the legacy these 2 heroes brought to the game of baseball is immeasurable. They set the standard by which today's game is played. Here to continue the legacy, please welcome David Mantle and Kevin Maris.
Kitty, that summer of 1961 was one of those summers here in New York that made me want to be a baseball player. Their fathers certainly were in the news every single day and made me read that newspaper and go out and play some baseball.
And suddenly there was a lot of young boys named Mickey.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the resemblance is amazing, isn't it?
To help us remember that magical season of 1961 and the Mantle and Maris home run chase, we'd like to introduce the producer and director of the great HBO film 61 that we all love and that recently earned 12 Emmy nominations. One of the great Yankee fans around, ladies and gentlemen, Billy Crystal.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, though, everybody. I am thrilled to be standing here with that great 61 team and all these other Yankees. That summer, as a 13-year-old, it made me a Yankee fan forever and a baseball fan forever. Every time we walk into the stadium, watch this great team play, you can't help but look at right field and center field and not think of Roger and Mickey. To be able to bring their story to life this year was the greatest thrill I've ever had. And I feel sorry for those of you who never got a chance to see them play. If you would ask Roger and Mickey, were you the heart and soul of this team, I know they would have said, Whitey won 25 games, our 3 catchers hit 64 home runs, we had the best defensive infield in baseball, and we had a pretty good year. That's why on Mickey's monument it says, Mickey Mantle, a great teammate. So ladies and gentlemen, it meant so much to me that David and the Maris family here today were happy with what we did. And for those of you who weren't able to see them play, that our movie in some way touched you. So on behalf of the Yankees, I'd like to ask you to look at Diamond Vision and remember these 2 great players.
Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow!
Our next legend, a Hall of Famer, a career 300 hitter, not to mention a lifetime batting average of .291 in the World Series. He was once quoted as saying, it's become a very famous quote, "I'll never quit. They'll have to tear the uniform off me." A key factor in Casey Stengel's platoon system. In the '56 World Series, at the age of 40, he batted .350 with a home run. At different times in his career, he led his league in hits, doubles, triples, and RBIs. He helped the Yankees win 2 World Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, Enos Country Slaughter.
This next Yankee helped the team to 3 American League East titles, 2 American League pennants, and 2 World Series championships in 1977 and 78. Right here on this field, he belted 3 home runs in 1 game of the 1977 World Series. One of the greatest clutch performers of all time. He has earned the nickname Mr. October. Please welcome Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson.
Mr. October, I call him Mr. Excitement because things seem to happen around Reggie.
A lot of people forget, Kenny, before Reggie became known for home runs, what a terrific all-around player he was. He could run, he could steal bases, and he had a great arm. He was an outstanding outfielder.
No Yankee in all their glorious history had 2 better, more divergent careers in pinstripes than this native son of New York. After 13 years as the spark plug of the 9-time champion Yankees, he went to the broadcast booth, became a star all over again. He was voted the all-time Yankee shortstop, became one of the all-time most popular broadcasters, a Hall of Famer. You know who he is, Philip Francis Scooter Rizzuto.
Yeah, looking at Don Zimmer laughing, and back in the 50s, the Yankees were his worst nightmare. What do you think, playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers and seeming to lose every single October to the Yankees except for one, 1955.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The 2001 Old Timers Day guest. Join me and John in saluting this distinguished group of alumni, world champions, Hall of Famers, and most of all, Yankees. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise as the legendary Eddie Layton will play "O Canada."
Gentlemen, we ask that you remain standing and give your attention to these microphones. You know, it's a big occasion. This gentleman is going to sing. He'll sing America the Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Robert Merrill.
Please join me in singing a tribute to the greatest country in the world. Where else could we have in Yankee Stadium? All-star teams, just fantastic. So America is beautiful. And join me, please, in singing. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Once more, America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Well, the game is coming up. The introductions were the most important part to those guys. What a special day at the stadium honoring that championship team of '61. Back with the old-timers game, including Joe Pepitone and Rick Cerrone and many of the other Yankees of other decades like Willie Randolph. That's coming up.